This review covers the 1934 Modified Slammer. It's a 125 scale kit from MPC number 927. Now, Modified Slammers are cars that are kind of a combination of open wheel and stock cars. And this class of car has been racing for quite a while, since, after World War I. They have the characteristics of a stock car, and usually the rear wheels are covered at least partially by fenders, but the front wheels are left exposed. Now this kit depicts a modified circle track racer from the 70s. It's not based on an actual car, but the old school slammers, generally were constructed from tube frames with high-powered V8s and exposed front wheels that were raced on oval race courses, most often about half-mile dirt tracks. The kit was originally released in '75, and it contains 77 pieces, all molded in white except for the tires, which come with nice pad printing on them. Now the skill level is 2, but it shouldn't be a problem for anybody with basic building experience, although you will need some patience to put the crash bars in place until the glue dries. When you're done, the kit's about 7.5 inches long, 2.25 inches high, and 3.25 inches wide. So here's a look at the box art for the kit. It's a nice clean looking vehicle, like it's right out of the factory. Here we have all the pieces that are in the kit. You can see they're pretty cleanly molded. There's very little flash on them, although there will be some issues to deal with, parting lines, etc. And the tires are really nice. And here are the decals for the kit. They're pretty colorful. The register is pretty good. But I found that I wanted to paint my own numbers, and I also added some more sponsor decals, etc. to the kit. These are some of the highlights of the kit. These gorgeous one-piece rubber tires, or vinyl tires with the pad-printed Goodyear logos are really nice. They painted the outsides silver and the inner wheels black. And go ahead and glue those together and then just sandwich them into the tires. Construction starts with the engine. You can see here we've got some Ford blue and a steel tranny. Now the intake manifold's not exactly right for the 428 engine, but if you want to modify that, there are resources on the internet where you could change that to a little bit more specific for the motor. The block and the manifold go together nicely, and then after that's dry, you can start adding the rest of the pieces. You see the chrome colored air cleaner cover, and gold tone carbs, and the aluminum valve covers there. So we'll go ahead and install those and finish up the engine. Now you see here, the rest of the accessory pieces, the front end, and of course the distributor, the fan belt, pulleys, alternator, and the fan, and you can see the appropriate colors there. So we'll go ahead and assemble those and take a look at the finished item. So here's what your 428 big block will look like when you've got it finished on the motor stand. You can see the air cleaner out front there. Also, the overall color scheme is pretty attractive when set in that tube frame. So take a few moments to admire your work and set that aside to dry. Now we can start building the chassis. The components are all nicely colored, color keyed to the body color here and the motor, and so we're going to paint those, and after they've dried, you can see the assembly from the instructions there, and you can see the various colorations, basically steel for the metal parts, and the frame, of course, is the same blue color. When it goes together, it's pretty attractive. It looks like a show car in a sense when it's a brand new slammer, that is, before it hits the dirt track for the first time. Next up is the cross member for the rear shocks, and you can see they were detailed with a little black there on the springs around the shock, and then of course the shock is a metal color. Now you can add that rear assembly to the back end, and also the front end has a similar treatment with the shocks being attached to the sides of the radiator, which is painted semi-gloss black. And don't forget to insert that drive shaft into the transmission when you put the rear end into position. And also here we've got the fuel cell in red, and we're going to add the tires to the spindles now for what we'll call a rolling chassis. Next, we'll add some of the panels. You see that those have been painted aluminum. There's a little detailing there on the firewall and the battery. Now, the frame parts, of course, same color as the rest of the frame in Ford blue. As you saw from the instructions, it's pretty straightforward, but here's what the panels will look like when you get those into place. And as you can see, it's kind of taking shape as a race car now. Now it's time to install some of the interior pieces here. You can see the roll bar. Some of the raised portions are the padded portions, and those are painted black. And then, of course, blue for the rest of the tubing. Also the steering wheel with aluminum center and a black wheel portion. Those will be installed at this time. And you can see here with the entire cage built, it's pretty nice looking unit, almost like you would have seen back in the day. Also, you'll note the addition here of the window screen patch kit material for the window screen that I added myself, and you can do the same thing with one of those patch kits for window screens. Now you see the detailing here that's been applied to seats flat black with red belts and silver buckles, and then there's the pedals and the shifter and the extinguisher, and those will all go into the interior now. And so with the seat and those pieces added to the interior, we can now add the roll cage and put that into position, and now the interior of the vehicle is complete. Here are the tube headers with the manifold flange there. Now these headers are two-piece units. They're glued together and joined at the flange up there. Now I painted mine black because I liked it. Anyway, you'll also find that on the tubing for the headers, as well as the body parts that are exposed, the bumpers and the roll cage, there's going to be parting lines. You'll have to address those, and maybe even a few ejector pin marks if you want a really clean look. You'll have to address those by scraping them off and sanding them nice and smooth, or filling in the marks. And so here's a look at those nicely tuned headers in place on the motor and exiting the side of the frame. And next we're going to add the exterior crash bars. You see the rear crash bar here up against the fuel cell attached to the frame. That's to protect that unit. So those go into place at this time. The front crash bar likewise attached to the frame, of course designed to keep any crash from destroying the steering and suspension, so that would put you out of the race. Next we're going to work on the body. It's basically a standard 34 coupe body, and the windows here need to be enlarged for entry and exit of the driver. So go ahead and remove that portion so that it's more like a real modified. And then just clean up any of the parting line seams that you find along the quarter panels and the drip edge, etc. And now it's time to put it all together. After you've cleaned up the body, it's time for paint. As you can see here, I've done a little custom painting on mine. Mostly, of course, it's red with some white to accent the blue for an all-American slammer. Now, I went ahead and painted, the numbers on as opposed to using decals for the numbers. And I added a few, of my own decals to give it a little emphasis. And you'll see where that occurred. But after you get the bodies into place, you can add the side crash bars too. You'll have to be patient. Or if you've got a good steady hand, you can put those into position with some, gel type super glue and add a little accelerator for instant adhesion. But as you can see, your model is finished at this point. Well, as you can see, there's not many pieces left. This is a single purpose kit for the 34 modified slammer, and all I had was one bar, and I didn't see any application for that in this model. That might have belonged to a different version. Well, there you have it. MPC is bringing back the heyday of the circle tracks, which were very, very numerous in the United States back in the 70s and early 80s. And you can see here you can customize your kit to make it just the way you like. You can add your own paint and decals. You could even modify some of the body parts and chassis parts if you like. It's a pretty interesting kit, and if I were you, I'd buy one and put it on my shelf. We hope you like this step-by-step model kit review, and so that you don't miss any more, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can watch us on Facebook or our website, rideonreplicas.com. Thanks. This review is brought to you in part by Ryder's Hobby Shops, where the fun begins. Stop in to one of Ryder's 2 convenient Michigan locations, where you'll find a full range of the latest hobby products, supplies, parts, tools, and paint. You'll find aisles and aisles of scale model kits, RC models, model rockets, Warhammer gaming, and railroading products. Stop in at Ryder's today and tell them Doug sent you.